This is One Sentence News, a daily podcast featuring 3 news stories with a sentence-long summary and 1 sentence of context apiece. I'm Colin Wright. This is a sponsored message. I've been using Anchor as my podcast host for a while now, and it's been a pleasure to use. Anchor offers benefits that most other hosts do not. It's free to use, but it also has a collection of tools that allow you to create a podcast completely within the Anchor website or smartphone app. They distribute your show to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all the other distribution channels without any additional effort on your part, and you can make money from your podcast without any minimum audience size. So you can use it as a more traditional podcast host like I do, but it's also got everything you need to start a podcast from scratch. If you're keen to give it a shot, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. It's Tuesday, May 10th, 2022. Let's talk about the news. From the New York Times, Russia-Ukraine war summary. U.S. First Lady Jill Biden and Canadian Prime Minister Trudeau visited Ukraine over the weekend, as did Bono and The Edge from U2, though only the latter performed a concert while there. The group of 7 nations, France, Canada, Germany, Italy, Japan, Britain, and the U.S., have pledged to phase out Russian oil, at some point at least, without giving specifics as to when that will happen in each country's case. And the U.S. has sanctioned some Gazprom bank executives and banned U.S. accounting firms from working with Russia. Russian President Putin was expected to make some kind of war-related announcement during Russian Victory Day celebrations on the 9th, but he didn't say anything new, and basically just repeated a claim that's become his government's most recent explanation on the matter, that the West was preparing to invade Russia, and that's why he decided to leisurely mass 200,000 troops on the Ukrainian border before ultimately invading a few months ago. From Reuters, Marcos, son of strongman, triumphs in Philippines presidential election. Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr., the son of former dictatorial President Ferdinand Marcos, has won what's being called a runaway victory in the Philippines, the first win by majority vote since 1986, when his father was deposed after 2 decades. 36 years after the family was run out of the country, following 20 years of kleptocratic authoritarian rule, Marcos Jr. won about 29.9 million votes, with 94% of total votes tallied, which is about double that of his main rival, Vice President Robredo. The official count is expected by the end of the month, and analysts are already saying this outcome seems to be the consequence of massive amounts of misinformation spread by online bots, a voter bloc of young people who weren't alive when the elder Marcos was run out of office and the country, and the younger Marcos's refusal to debate or offer a platform beyond repeating the word unity and rewriting his father's legacy as that of a benevolent ruler who led the Philippines through a golden age, that rewriting accomplished through social media manipulation. And from Bloomberg, China orders government and state firms to dump foreign PCs. The Chinese government has ordered all central government agencies and corporations with state backing, which is a great many of them, to replace all of their foreign-made computers with Chinese-made versions of the same within 2 years. This is a pretty big ask, as even though China supplies a huge portion of the world's microprocessors and other computer components, there are only so many finished machines to go around, and the country's manufacturing flow has taken a hit with recent and ongoing COVID lockdowns in hubs like Shenzhen and Shanghai. This order will reportedly result in the replacement of something like 50 million foreign-made computers, and will almost certainly limit the supply of the aforementioned Chinese-made computer components available on the international market for the duration. This order arrives in the wake of several years' worth of U.S. sanctions against Chinese tech companies like Huawei, but also the comparably deep sanctions on Russian companies, which China would almost certainly also face in the event of a future conflict with the West. So this move would allow them to get out in front of that eventuality, so such sanctions wouldn't hurt as much. If you're finding some value in One Sentence News, consider leaving a quick review wherever you get your podcasts and or sharing the show with a friend. You can find out more about this show or subscribe to the email version at onesentencenews.com. And you can support this and other related projects, like the Let's Know Things and Brain Lenses podcasts, at understandery.com.